Hello, I'm Jamila Musayeva, an international etiquette consultant, author of etiquette books and pre-recorded online etiquette courses. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to stay elegant, graceful, and poised in times of difficulties. So in other words, how to stay graceful under pressure. True elegance is not something that we get to exhibit only when things are good in life, when we're living under, easy life conditions, when things are going our way. It's quite easy to maintain elegance and to maintain grace and poise in those times. It's really a test of elegance when hard times come, and it's under the pressure that we get to show our real colors or our true character. And it's probably one of the most challenging things to maintain your poise and your grace when things don't go your way and when life hits you hard. So in this video, we're going to talk about certain things that we can learn to do in a way to manipulate with our body and with our minds in order to maintain that grace when things don't go our way. But before we get started, I want to thank the paid partner for today's episode, which is a platform called BetterHelp. I've partnered with them on numerous episodes before as well. I personally am using BetterHelp. I truly have benefited so much from this platform. It is an online platform that gathers together qualified therapists from all around the world. And the best part about it is so easy to start therapy there. All you have to do is fill out the questionnaire, let the BetterHelp know what you're looking for, and then they match you with a therapist within a short period of time. And if you don't happen to match well with your therapist, you can easily request to get a different therapist. And what I found very useful about this platform is I actually changed a few therapists before I found the one that worked for me, that I felt comfortable talking to and sharing my issues with. And also what I personally love about BetterHelp is that you can access it anywhere and everywhere in the world from the comfort of your own home. And since I travel a lot and I'm often working from home and kids are around, it's such a great way for me not to have to leave the house in order to get therapy. So it doesn't feel like I have to go to a classroom or get myself out there to see the therapist. I can just do it from the comfort of my own couch. I also love the fact that they have journal inside where you can write out your thoughts, or also group sessions that you can join with people that maybe are going through the same thing as you do, and they're there to they can actually support you emotionally and mentally. So if you see that you are someone who needs to talk to someone, that you can freely talk about anything and not feel like it's a family member or friend. If you're someone who is struggling with something mentally, emotionally, or if you just really want to chat with someone, I highly encourage you to check out BetterHelp. You can check out my link, betterhelp.com/Jamila, to get 10% off on your first month of therapy. It's down in the description box below as well. The first most powerful technique that you can use in order to maintain your grace under pressure, especially when you're being provoked by someone to show your emotion, to get a reaction, is control your reaction. You cannot control the situation, perhaps. You cannot control the other person, but you can control the reaction you feed into the situation or you feed to that person. I have found this the most powerful thing ever, and people often call me like, you are silent, you're giving a silent treatment. I don't think it's a silent treatment per se. It's just if I don't feel like I want to react to this situation, if I feel like anything I say I might regret later on, I prefer to maintain my silence rather than to say things that I will later regret. It's not necessarily should be seen as a bad thing to be silent treating someone. I think it's better to maintain your composure, your mental, your emotional sanity, rather than to engage into a dialogue that can provoke really intense feelings in you, that can shatter you, that can really, throw you off balance. So if you want to maintain your composure, your grace, I urge you to control your reaction and understand what are the things that you can take control over, and that's your reaction, though you can't control the situation. So if you need to give a reaction to something that you were being provoked by someone about something that maybe you said or maybe you acted, and they give their feedback and you feel like it's really getting it wants a reaction from you, the best way to deal with it is to pause. Before you say something, before you react to it, before you respond, pause. Do it intentionally, breathe in, breathe out if you need to, count to 10 if you need to, whatever it is. Think about something else in that moment, but pause. If this is an online communication, if you feel like the urge to respond very quickly to something negative, then take a pause. Respond a day later, respond a few hours later, but take that pause, take as much time as you need before you respond, and make sure that your response is in the most neutral possible tone, voice and pitch, that you don't let the person that is trying to get a reaction out of you feel like you've been provoked, that you're feeding them the emotions they've been waiting to get from you. So pausing before reacting and knowing that you can control your reaction is the most powerful technique of staying graceful under pressure. The second important element of maintaining your grace under pressure is taking control of your facial expressions, because whatever you are feeling is often revealed in your body language. And the most seen body part of ours when we're interacting with someone is obviously our face. You know how sometimes you'll see a funny meme about someone that they have subtitles on their face? I actually do that too. And oftentimes when I have subtitles on my face, it's actually intentional, when I want the person know whatever I'm feeling. But I'm also very good at masking my emotions, so taking control of my facial expressions when I need to. To control your facial expressions, you have to be aware of what are some facial expressions that you do when things don't go your way, and what are some things that are most prominent on your face. So maybe you raise your eyebrows, maybe you need to bring awareness to that. But most often when we're angry, when we're agitated, when we are nervous, we clench our jaws, and there's so much tension in the jaws. You can see it in people when they're trying to, mask their nervousness before a public speech or on camera. If you see their jaws clenched, they're not feeling confident or comfortable, at ease. So the best way to take control over that, or the best way to relax your jaw, is actually to press your tongue up to the roof of your mouth. So you do it intentionally. You press your tongue up to the roof and then you exhale. This allows you to relax the jaws. So even if you're feeling nervous, you're doing this body movement to relax your jaws. And so even if you are actually feeling the emotion of agitation or anger, it's not really much revealed in your facial expression. It's something we can build a habit of. So first is the awareness, understanding that it's happening to our jaws, then bringing the awareness and deliberately putting the top of our tongue to the roof of our mouth, and exhaling will help us relax the jawline. So even if we are feeling a certain negative emotion, we will not be showing it. The third important technique that you can use in order to maintain your grace, your elegance, and your poise when you're being provoked by someone intentionally is to not change the tone of your voice, or rather to actually lower the volume and the tone of your voice and speak more slowly or more intentionally. If someone says something to provoke you, instead of rapidly responding and raising the volume of your voice or the tone of your voice, instead what you do is know that this is your natural reaction. You intentionally lower your voice, you speak more slowly, and you're more intentional with your words. I find this technique to be disarming a lot of people. And actually, from my own teaching experience, whenever I'm teaching these big, large groups of corporate workers and executives or government officials, and they have their own ways of establishing power in the lecture room, and they would ask something that is either provoking me or trying to find a fault in something that I've said. And I have over the years learned to control my emotions and learn to react to those, that if they are trying to get an emotion out of me, I never fetch into that emotion. So I will always listen very carefully to their question, and if I know that it probably is trying to provoke me, I'll take pause longer than intended usually when responding to any question. I'll allow a silence float in the room, and then I'll continue in a tone that's even lower than I was speaking at, and I'll respond very quietly to what they said, or usually ask a question in return and make them answer their own question. This is a technique I've been practicing, and it always works miracles, because people expect me to lose control over my emotions, to react to their provocative questions, and instead they get no reaction, or they get very little out of me. So it works, and I'm sure if you try this with your family first and then with strangers, you'll see how greatly it helps you to maintain your calm and your grace under pressure. The fourth powerful technique that I use in order to maintain my grace and elegance under pressure, or when I feel like I am losing control over my emotions, is I withdraw. If it's online communication, I will withdraw from it. So if I'm communicating and I feel like I'm losing my temper, I'll stop responding until I have enough control over my emotions to respond adequately. And if this is an in-person communication, then, I will, if I can, I'll say, I'm not in the right mood right now to discuss this. Let's talk about this another day. I might not physically withdraw, but if I can, I oftentimes withdraw physically from the space I no longer feel comfortable in being. But if I feel like I cannot actually leave the room, I have to be here, say it's a negotiations table, then I'll just, ask a moment and say, right now, this is not the right time to discuss this. Let's keep it for another day. So I know myself, and I know how much, to what extent I can control my emotions. I try to make the most out of the amount of control I have, but sometimes things go really bad and it's very difficult to maintain your grace and poise. In that way, it's best to withdraw. Either you do your silence treatment if you need to, or you withdraw mentally, you start thinking about something completely different, or if you can, physically withdraw, because your presence is a gift and your presence is a grace to someone. So if that person doesn't merit that grace, then it's best that you don't basically give them your presence. The fifth important technique that you can use, and it's so easy to do, and it's the one that really helps you a lot, especially when you're not feeling well, you feel depressed, you feel sad, you feel upset about life, when obviously things are getting hard. And this might sound so trivial, this might sound so shallow or cliche, but really dressing up, waking up, changing your outfit, putting good, nice clothes on, taking care of yourself will shift your mindset so much. I don't know how it works. I don't necessarily really understand the psychology behind it, but I understand the power of it, and I've used it in so many times in my life, especially when I'm not feeling well. I usually look my very best, because whenever I don't feel well, I intentionally stand up, I dress up, I put on makeup, I put on heels. I want to at least take control of whatever I can, and that's usually what I'm wearing. And once I've put the nice makeup on, or put perfume on, dressed up, heels on, I immediately feel more elevated. I immediately feel more elegant, more graceful. It might not necessarily change everything in my life, but for that time being, it changes how I feel about myself, and that's already a good starting point. The sixth important technique of maintaining your grace under pressure, and by pressure I mean provocation, particularly by people that have no boundaries or want to push your boundaries and ask these rude, very personal questions, which I come across a lot, mostly online. Very rarely people dare to ask me something like that in person, pretty much never. But online, people feel like they're shielded behind the screens. And I'll get questions from anywhere about my personal life, how I make money, what my husband does, what my kids do, what my parents do. So many personal questions that I often think, why would you feel comfortable asking this to pretty much a stranger? I do have online presence and I'm online persona, I understand that, but I only share what I want to share. Why do you feel like you have the entitlement to more personal answers from me? And so it's very important for everyone to set boundaries. It's very important for your mental, for your emotional sanity, but also for feeling like you have control over your life. So anytime you get questions that are super rude, super personal, so you're really hit under the pressure to answer to these questions, the best thing that you can do obviously is to deflect those questions, or to set boundaries as to what could be asked and what couldn't. The way I respond to rude questions would be, thank you for your curiosity in my life, but I don't see how this answer will help you in yours. Or I'll say something, I don't think this matter should be important for you, and full point. I don't necessarily think that I have to respond with nicety to a question that is already pushing my boundary. So when someone is pushing that boundary, I set it very firmly. Or if someone in person asks me something super personal, I would say, I don't feel like discussing this with you right now. I'm not in a good mood. Or I would say, I don't think I want to share this part of my life with people that are not close to me. So I'll definitely say something that's super firm. I'll keep my tone very neutral. and I will end it with a full point rather than a question mark. So I wouldn't end a statement with a question mark, sort of like, I don't think I want to discuss this with you. It makes it sound like I'm not really sure if I want or I don't. So my answer is usually very firm, and some might say it's also a bit rude, but I think it's really important to set your boundaries with a firm tone and with a firm statement. And the last powerful technique that helps me to maintain my grace and my poise whenever things are not going well in my life is I have a certain routine that I stick to. Routine of little pleasures is what I call it. Things that always put me in a good mood, even momentarily, while I am, occupying myself with that. So I have basically 3 non-negotiables, so to speak, or things that I do every day, no matter what. And that is, number 1 is making myself early in the morning freshly brewed coffee in my favorite mug of the day. I have this moment of 20 to 30 minutes of silence to myself with a cup of coffee. Before my Arabic class, I just drink it. I listen maybe to a Quran verse, or I'm listening to a calm music to just ground myself and really feel relieved. The second thing I do is whenever I'm out and about, no matter where I've been, if I come home, the first thing I do is I step into a shower, especially after meeting people, after having a busy day of lots of meetings and calls and communicating with a lot of people. I come home and the first thing I do is I cleanse my body. I don't know how it works, but it takes away all the energy that I have accumulated over the day, and it allows me to recharge and ground myself after being out and around with people. And the third thing I do is after I put my kids to bed, I always allow myself to have 30 or 40 minutes to do whatever I want to do. It's either scrolling online something, or reading a magazine that I like, or watching something funny. So these are the 3 little things that I look forward to when I am starting my day. And so you can pick whatever it is for you. And of course, it can change over time as well. But those things should not really be difficult to initiate, and those things should be easy for you to start and easy for you to maintain. And you know that no matter what goes and happens in your life, you're going to have those 3 highlights, so to speak, of little joys in your day that will allow you to feel poised and graceful and grounded throughout the whole time. Thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up because it helps me understand what kind of content you enjoy watching on my channel. Also, if you want to learn more about etiquette, you can get my pre-recorded online etiquette courses available on my website. They come with a certificate of completion. You can also get my books that are available for international shipment on my website. And if you want to join the exclusive Patreon club, you can do so as well. It's in the description box below. Every month I do an etiquette review of different kind of movies. So far I've done over 40 different movie analysis, and by joining the Patreon club now, you can have access to all those movie reviews, and these are very exclusive content that I don't share anywhere but my Patreon club. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!